we've made a lot of progress so far, and that's been a nice step in the right direction. I laid out a 100-day plan when I first came in, and part of that was filling the executive management. Part of that was working on the regulatory compliances that the company had. Part of that was, really adding some acquisitions to the portfolio. We made good progress, and we're nearly complete with the regulatory compliance. We're in the final sign-off stage of our restatement process, which is what we announced on our last quarter. I'll give more announcement coming up this quarter. But for the most part, that's just about behind us. The acquisitions are kind of evidence of that as we move forward with logistics of now integrating more financials into our own. Even the SEC wouldn't have given us approval had we not been kind of into that stage. And most of the management's here. I hired a new head of marketing, a new head of sales operations, a new head of HR, a new general counsel. My strategy here is to build the largest security company, and I'm not looking for an acquirer for this technology. I mean, my goal and why I'm hired is shareholder value. And my goal is to build the shareholder value of the company. I mean, the stock has been up 40%. We've got good growth. We've got more opportunity. And that's not because I'm being acquired. And you always look at partnerships and opportunities if you're a CEO. But having said that, there's a transformation that can be done here, and that's probably the greatest shareholder value I could create. Well, the first is, if you really compared Symantec to McAfee, it's a lot closer than you think, because the merger of Symantec and Veritas is what really created a much bigger company there. Even though the company's called Symantec, the Veritas is not a security business, and I'm focused on security. We're a dedicated security company. I want to be the largest dedicated security company, and that's my focus. So I wouldn't count storage revenue or count backup revenue into the security marketplace. And honestly, I think Symantec has struggled with a little of that. Backup from Veritas and security from Symantec. A lot of people believe those two don't go together. And certainly the Wall Street markets and the world capital markets have agreed that they don't go together, because the two companies reach about $18 billion in market capitalization pre-acquisition, and now they're $18 billion afterward, roughly. So the market has penalized that thing quite a bit. And so when you really look at our market values, we're just about a $7 billion market value. They're about an $18 billion market value with Veritas. If you look at the revenues broken out, they do just over $400 million per quarter. We do over $315 million was our last quarter. And the $400 million they announced includes some of the email archiving and some other products that we don't consider security either. But the gap isn't nearly as wide as you think it is, maybe in perception of the size companies. So I'm focused on market share and security. I'm focused in on revenues and worldwide perception of leadership in the space. And Safe Boot adds quite a bit to that for us on a run rate basis. And we're closing the gap a lot more. Now, a lot of the financial analysts know how close that gap actually is now. The last few quarters, McAfee has grown substantially, whereas Symantec has actually negatively grown. They have gone backwards. Last quarter, they had 15% negative growth. Of course, we had 15% positive growth. So it's on the security piece, that is. So the gap is, organically changing as the lines are growing, as well as through acquisition. Microsoft has created quite an opportunity for McAfee to extend and embrace their products. And if you've seen, we've been doing more partnering with them than competing. Certainly Steve Ballmer and the team have been very open to partnerships with McAfee. We've been doing so. His deployments of Vista require other security partners to help them make it secure and safe from zero-day attacks, which has been a big challenge for Microsoft that they've rolled out their product lines. And
even with their security, because they had integrated security inside of Vista, and there was a lot of, actually when...
A thin layer of security, would be a good, accurate, and probably they would agree to some of that. Their OneCare line, which is a service in the antivirus, has not had much uptake in the market. The Forefront technology, which is part of the Vista and the professional releases of Vista, haven't really deployed much yet, nor has a lot of technology in that either. So they've looked to extend themselves with other security companies. I want to be the company that could best partner with them too. And hopefully that's an avenue for growth for us over time. And similarly with Cisco, who has some security capabilities, but we complement them quite a bit as well. So my goal there is to become, much better partners with those large companies, not treat them as competitors. I mean, who doesn't compete with Microsoft a little somewhere, right? It's a contextual problem to Microsoft or Cisco. It's not their core business. You know, they're doing it as an afterthought, as an add-on sale. And I think this problem of malware growth and cybercrime is a serious enough problem that people are looking to a dedicated company who's focused on that. And, you know, quite honestly, I think the world is looking for this, and there hasn't been one. Symantec deluded themselves with storage and is not really focused on security. It's an opportunity for us to become much bigger and grow as a result of others trying to add a little bit on and then not getting it right. And it's been pretty well documented. Microsoft and Cisco have been very challenged with their security offerings and have not had much success. It is not an easy problem to solve. So as I've looked at our strategy, you know, I don't want to go into tangential markets that are not related to security. I'm maniacally focused on that, and I want to perform there, and I want to make sure we've got, you know, the right efforts at that market. So at least one man's belief. The nice part for us, which is very unique, quite honestly, in IT, is the same product we build for a consumer and the product's consumed by enterprises. And that's a pretty rare thing where you could build an antivirus product or a spyware product or a data loss product or an encryption product for a consumer and have it be run by the largest corporations in the world with the same product. And if you look at most major markets, it's a very different set of technologies for a consumer. You know, even Oracle hasn't been able to get to consumer or SAP to consumer. They've had a hard time even getting into mid-markets. So in the world of IT, not many companies have been able to go from, you know, the largest corporation in the world all the way down to, you know, one single user. And when you look at the assets of McAfee, that's a pretty promising opportunity where I don't have to replicate development operations for every market differently. It's the same core set. And SafeBoot was very attractive to me because their technology is easily for a consumer mobile phone. Who doesn't want, you know, if you lose your mobile phone, you could lose your credit cards. If you're in Japan, I mean, this is how you process your train ticket to your everything. And if you lost this is a problem. And over time, this will be a hugely important asset to everyone in the world. So SafeBoot's technology is very applicable from consumer to enterprise, and that's what attracted me to that company, was the elasticity of the technology. And I look for that through any acquisition we do or any growth we do. It creates a very powerful, scalable model.